is the Colorado Symphony.
Rhythms. All the kind of rhythms that you have to learn for flamenco. So we learned all these things, and so little by little I started playing and playing and playing. And before I knew it, I was in show business. And the guitar took over.
Rene gained international recognition at 17 when he started playing for Spain's greatest flamenco dancer, Carmen Amaya.
Have now in 10 years.
This is Billy Wilson, who's relating some of his experiences back in, well, just pre-Civil War days.
Pre-civil.
The music you are about to hear was performed by our band we call Nostalgia. We played the exact arrangements of the 1940s dance bands like Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman, Tommy Dorsey with Frank Sinatra, Harry James, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Artie Shaw, and many other greats. The band contains some of Denver's finest musicians and is conducted by former school bandmaster Lloyd Bowen, with vocals by Denver's own Rich Italiano. Nostalgia has played for the Elks Clubs, Jefferson County Bank, Southwest Plaza Mall, Denver Athletic Club, the Rocky Mountain News Annual Golden Wedding Party, along with many weddings, class reunions, and New Year's Eve dances. The band has over 200 selections in its library, but time permits only a short sample. So sit back and enjoy some nostalgia. Thank you.
How do you get where you're going without the help? Bernhard Castle. And then I thought KFEL. Remember KFEL, Willie Hartson? We had a
Upstairs
KFELers.
in the Albany. Upstairs in the Albany Hotel.
Yeah, and then they had the storefront where they broadcast. Remember, it was
KFEL.
Hey fellers, it's the KFELers.
I'm the only guy left out of that group.
Keep on smiling. That was their theme. And the whole world smiles.
What year are we talking about?
Franklin, though. Got a better
Another
brain.
part of it. Another part of the 1930s. Late 30s, yeah.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, very much. This is the official Denver Broncos band.
Every joint in town had a trio, a piano player, an accordion solo. You could get work
Oh, yeah,
like that.
no problem.
Right, Mike?
You didn't make too much, but you made enough.
People who settled this city were as diverse as their dreams, yet there was a sense of community, and there was no better example of that than their band. It was formed in 1868, and it hasn't stopped playing since.
A gentleman named Alex Sutherland, who was one of 6 buglers at the charge of the Light Brigade, settled in Denver, having obviously survived that ordeal. And he was instrumental in many of the early musical events in Denver, and he founded the GAR Post Band, which eventually became the Denver Municipal Band. So it's an interesting aspect that such a colorful personage from history as a bugler of the charge of the Light Brigade was associated with us.
The band soon became so popular that preachers complained that parishioners were skipping Sunday services just to attend the weekly concerts in the park. Over the years, the band's reputation grew and invitations came to play at the dedication of the Civic Center in 1919 and at the openings of Red Rocks Amphitheater in 1941 and the Denver Coliseum in 1952.
Like in 1912, for example, this band played for 12,000 people when the old auditorium and the arena could be put into one configuration, where the Buell Theater is now could be done into one configuration. This band had an extensive winter season in the 20s and 30s. And I don't think we'll see an extensive rebuilding of the number of concerts, but I do want to raise our visibility across the calendar. We're trying to structure in such a way now that when there's a special holiday, whether it's the Christmas season or anything throughout the winter months as well, we'll have a sustained visibility for our folks again. Our band is called a concert band in this country, or in England, a military band, meaning we have both the woodwind family, the flutes and oboes, etc., and the brass put together. But essentially, band just means without strings. We have an extensive educational outreach as well, where we have smaller portions of the band go into the schools throughout the year and present programs. And those are combined performances, but also workshops. Because the slogan we work under for our educational outreach is, there's nothing to it but to do it. And by that we mean that when you're throwing the ball yourself, or you're playing the musical instruments, when it's your fingers and your brain and your air that are making the instrument work, then you're in the game, you're part of the game, you're participating.
Every joint in town had a trio, a piano player, an accordion solo. You could get work
Oh, yeah,
like that.
no problem.
Right, Mike?
You didn't make too much, but you made enough.
Oh,
All things being equal, I guess
you'd
we
be
did just
surprised
as
how
well.
my mind went. Remember, I was standing on California Street when the musician union was upstairs by Weintraub's,
Yeah,
and Tommy Lauderman,
Charlie Key.
the clarinet man, what's his name? Tommy, little Tommy, he was always into.
Aldrin?
Oh,
Timmy
that's
Aldrin.
it.
Timmy
Tom-
Timmy O.
Timmy Aldrin
Yeah.
played clarinet, and the piano player, his buddy, that only sang one song. I shine all day Sundays looking.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the piano
Yeah.
player? He worked with Fats Briley and Tony Ferraro. I was strolling tables.
That's right.
I joined the union. Mike made me join when I was 14. nice high. You'll feel good going home. I says, okay. So I knew, he said, no, you go like this. Hold your breath. Yeah. Then let it out. I said, okay. He did it. Got it right down. I said, gee, you burned your fingers. He said, that's all right. And I do the rest of it. He said, don't do it all. I said, I was smoking at that time. Oh, I said, that's stinky stuff. That's not like Camels. So anyway, we throw it out. He says, good night, Billy, and thank you for taking me home. I said, I drive down and I get to Larmer where the police station is like this a winter night. And I sit through 2 red lights. And then
and that can happen too.
And I drove to the end and I started getting dizzy. I was 16. I pulled next to the police station, got up, and there was some dirty snow stacked up. And I got underneath to the clean and I went, because I wanted to wake up. I was getting dizzy. All of a sudden I see a pair of shoes and I go, the cop said, what are you doing? I says, I ate a hamburger. Boy, was I a good liar. I ate a hamburger at Trout's up on, or that other place I can't think of. And it just, he says, that happened to me last week. He said, did you get a stomach ache? I says, yeah, I didn't have a stomach ache. I was dizzy. He says, can you drive? You want me to drive home? And I said, no, I'll be all right. I just get some, he said, keep your windows down. I says, okay, the accordion on the back seat. I said, thank you, officer. Although had he found that, of course, they didn't know marijuana at that time.
In those days, it wasn't
They didn't
illegal.
know.
They sure didn't know.
Wait a minute, Billy Miles and those guys in the hamburger joints used to smoke it, and the cops would be eating breakfast at the end
Out
of
in the public.
Am I
That's
right?
What year
That
are you
is
talking
right.
about now? Tell me.
Well, I was
Approximately.
17, that was 37, 38. Huh?
Okay, you see, in those days, it wasn't
during this
illegal.
thing,
Huh?
Come on, shake your body, baby, do the conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer. Feel the rhythm of the music getting stronger. Don't you fight it till you try to do the conga beat. to watch over me.
It's been a pleasure to have the leaders here. A lot of excitement generated tonight just with all the great music. Tomorrow they get back to some of the business at hand, and of course we'd like to thank the Musicians Union, the local musicians, doing just a wonderful job here. Special thanks indeed to the Denver Musicians Association. What a wonderful contribution to tonight's Summit Gala. This organization, by the way, celebrating its 100th anniversary here in Denver, representing musicians ranging from those who perform with the Colorado Symphony to Denver Center attractions that you've probably enjoyed. We certainly applaud them from 9 News for the talent and the time they took in making Saturday night at the Summit a very big success.
And we're so glad that you joined us for our 9 News coverage of Saturday night at the Summit.
Good night, everyone.